The dinner rush at La Belle Lumière was always intense, but tonight felt different. The kitchen hummed with chaos, the clang of pots and pans echoing off the walls, orders shouting back and forth, servers weaving between tables like threads in a tapestry. The scent of roasted garlic, buttered herbs, and simmering sauces filled the upscale restaurant. And right in the middle of it all stood Marcus Taylor, a 17-year-old black waiter on his first official week at the job. He wore his uniform neatly, shirt tucked tight, apron smooth, hair trimmed clean. His mother had ironed his clothes that morning, saying proudly, "Show them how bright my boy can shine." Marcus tried. He tried hard. But tonight, everything felt harder than it should. The restaurant was at full capacity. Customers complained impatiently. A couple at table 14 glared at him for forgetting water refills. A family demanded extra plates, then extra napkins, then something else he didn't catch over the noise. He tried to stay calm, polite, and composed. But inside, his nerves tangled tighter and tighter. At the center of the storm stood Chef Antoine Laurent, the head chef. A man known for brilliance, and known equally for his violent temper. He wasn't just strict. He was cruel, sharp-tongued, unpredictable. His authority ruled the restaurant like iron, and Marcus was terrified of him. Every time Marcus stepped into the kitchen, he flinched at the chef's booming voice. "Move! Faster! Don't touch that! You're blocking my line." Tonight, though, tonight would be different. Tonight, the humiliation would reach a level Marcus had never imagined. It all started with a simple mistake, a misunderstanding. Table 8 had ordered filet mignon, medium rare. Marcus picked up the plate from the kitchen counter, distracted by a spilled drink behind him, and didn't notice the marking on the ticket. It wasn't medium rare. It was rare. He walked it to the table. A well-dressed businessman cut into the steak, frowned hard, and snapped, "This is practically raw. What kind of restaurant are you running?" The words hit Marcus's chest like stones. I'm so sorry, sir. Let me fix that right away." Heart racing, he hurried back to the kitchen, holding the plate carefully like it was a burning coal. "Chef, they wanted mediums." Before he could finish, Chef Antoine spun around, eyes wild, face red from heat and fury. "What did you just bring me?" Marcus froze. I think I mixed up." "You think?" the chef roared. The entire kitchen fell silent. Even the sizzling pans seemed to quiet themselves. "Do you know how long that steak took?" The chef barked, marching closer. "Do you know how much time you just cost my line? My kitchen? My restaurant? I'm sorry, chef, Don't talk back to me." Marcus flinched. "I told you all week," Chef Antoine continued, voice dripping with insult. "You're too slow, too distracted, too unfocused. And now you're handing out raw meat like you've never worked in a restaurant before." Marcus's hands shook. His throat tightened. He could barely speak. "I'll fix it, chef. I really didn't mean—" "Are you stupid?" Antoine yelled, his voice cracking through the dining room doors. A few customers looked up from their tables, startled. Marcus's face burned. His eyes stung. He forced himself to stay still, but his chin quivered. The chef kept going. Louder, harsher. "People like you always drag my kitchen down," he spat. "Can't follow instructions. Can't keep up. I don't know why I even hired you." Marcus felt the words slice straight into his chest. "People like you." He knew exactly what that meant. His mother's voice echoed in his head. "You belong anywhere you work hard." But right now, standing under the fluorescent lights, belittled in front of grown adults who smirked in the corners, he felt like he didn't belong anywhere. "Chef, please," he said softly. "Oh, please," the chef mocked, stepping even closer. "I don't want excuses. I want competence, something you clearly don't understand." Marcus lowered his head. He didn't want to cry. Not here. Not in front of these people. Not in front of the chef who looked at him like he was worthless. Antoine grabbed the plate and slammed it down onto the counter, so hard the juices splashed onto Marcus's sleeve. "Do it again, and this time try using your brain." A few cooks exchanged uneasy glances. No one dared intervene. Marcus swallowed hard, his voice barely a whisper. "Yes, chef." He turned, shoulders heavy, legs trembling, and walked out of the kitchen. But as he pushed through the door, he didn't see the woman sitting quietly at the corner booth. She had arrived unnoticed, wearing a simple coat, hair tied back, a notebook beside her plate. To anyone else, she looked like just another customer. But she wasn't. Her eyes had followed everything, every insult, every raised voice. Every moment, Marcus's dignity had been crushed in front of strangers. She watched with growing fury, not just at what had happened, but who it had happened to, because she knew Marcus. She knew exactly who he was, and she knew something Chef Antoine did not know, something that would turn his entire world upside down. She closed her notebook, took a slow breath, and stood up. Tonight, Chef Antoine would learn a lesson he would never forget. The dinner rush always hit the restaurant like a storm, but tonight, it felt worse. Plates slammed, customers snapped their fingers impatiently, and the smell of burnt garlic drifted from the kitchen like a warning sign. Malik kept wiping his palms on his apron, praying he wouldn't drop another tray. He had already made one mistake that evening, and Chef Romano had not let him forget it for even a second. "Move faster," Romano barked again, banging a ladle on the metal table like a judge delivering a sentence. The entire kitchen stiffened. Everyone knew that sound. Malik swallowed hard and nodded quickly. His chest tightened, but he fought the shaking in his hands. He couldn't afford to lose this job. His mother depended on him. Their rent depended on him. Everything depended on him. "Chef, order up. Table 9, Malik said, placing the slip on the board carefully. Romano snatched the paper from his fingers. "Careful?" he mocked, leaning forward. "You don't get to be careful when you're slow. You think customers wait for your speed? Move." A few cooks lowered their eyes. Malik stepped back silently. He knew how this worked. Chef Romano needed to put someone down to feel powerful. And Malik, being young, new, and black, had become the perfect target. But tonight was different. Someone else was in the dining room. Someone Romano didn't expect. The restaurant's VIP table had been reserved for a special guest, though no one had told the staff who it was. All anyone knew was that the general manager had polished the silverware himself and wiped the chairs 3 times. The servers whispered theories. Maybe a celebrity, maybe a politician, maybe a critic. Malik didn't care who it was. He just wanted to get through the night without Romano screaming loud enough to shake the walls. But fate had different plans. As Malik stepped into the kitchen carrying a tray of dirty dishes, Romano's voice exploded again. "You spilled water on table 3? Romano roared, slamming his fists on the counter. "Are you trying to ruin this restaurant?" It was an accident," Malik whispered, feeling heat behind his eyes. "Oh, an accident? Everything with you is an accident," Romano snapped. "Maybe you don't have the brain for fine dining. Maybe you're better off at some fast food joint." A knife clattered to the floor. Every cook froze. Malik's breath hitched. The humiliation stung sharper than the words. It always did, and the worst part was how public it was. Romano's voice traveled, carried by anger and ego, easily overheard by anyone passing by. "Chef, please, I'm trying," Malik began. "Trying?" Romano laughed loudly. "Trying isn't good enough. You're sloppy, slow, and you never listen. How do you expect to make it anywhere acting like this?" Malik flinched. He felt everyone watching him, pity in their eyes that felt like needles. "You want to know what your problem is?" Romano continued, stepping closer. "You don't belong here. You don't have the background, the training, or the discipline. You're..." A sharp voice cut through the tension. "That's enough." The entire kitchen snapped toward the doorway. A tall woman stood there, elegant and commanding. She wore a simple navy dress, but it carried authority. Her hair was tied neatly, and her expression was unreadable. But her eyes, those eyes, held steel. Romano blinked, confused. Ma'am? The kitchen is restricted." "You can't be here." She stepped inside anyway. "I've been watching you," she said calmly. "I heard every word." The kitchen staff exchanged glances, unsure what was happening. Romano's face shifted nervously. "Look, with all respect, this is a high-pressure environment. My staff knows how I talk. They're used to it." "No," she said, her voice like ice. "They're afraid of you." The room went silent. "Who are you?" Romano asked, trying to steady himself. The woman stepped closer, staring him down. "My name is Dr. Celeste Morgan." The name rippled through the staff. Some gasped, some whispered. Malik felt his heart skip. He recognized the name. Dr. Celeste Morgan, world-famous chef, author, owner of 8 Michelin-starred restaurants, mentor to dozens of young chefs worldwide. A legend. And she was standing right in front of them. Romano's mouth hung open. "Dr. Morgan, I didn't know you..." "That's the problem," she cut in. "You didn't know. You didn't care. You humiliated a young man in front of your entire staff. Not because he did something wrong, but because you could, Romano sputtered. He made mistakes. This is a professional kitchen. So teach him, she said sharply. Don't tear him down. Malik felt his chest tighten. He didn't know whether to look at her or the floor. His hands trembled as he held the tray against himself. Dr. Morgan turned toward him. What's your name? Malik, he said softly. She smiled gently. Malik, how long have you been working here? 3 months, ma'am. And before this? I worked at a small diner. Nothing fancy. She nodded thoughtfully. And have you received proper training here? He hesitated. Romano jumped in. We're very busy. I don't have time to baby every new hire. Dr. Morgan turned to him slowly. Training is not babying. Training is leadership. Romano swallowed. And insulting your staff? She added. What do you call that? Romano had no answer. Dr. Morgan stepped back, addressing the whole kitchen. A great kitchen is not built on fear. It is built on respect, on growth, on mentorship. She pointed toward Malik. And young people like him are the future of this industry. Malik felt his throat tighten. No one had ever spoken about him like that. Not with belief, not with dignity. Romano stammered. Dr. Morgan, surely you don't think... I think, she interrupted, that the problem is not Malik. The problem is you. A collective exhale rippled through the staff. For now, she said firmly, I will take over the remainder of the evening's supervision. And tomorrow morning, we will have a meeting with the board. Romano's face drained of color. And Malik, she added, turning to him once more, I'd like to speak with you privately after your shift. Yes, ma'am, he whispered, overwhelmed. She nodded and walked out, leaving the kitchen suspended in stunned silence. For the first time that night, Malik felt the heaviness in his chest lift. Someone had seen him. Someone had stood up for him. And someone extraordinary, believed in him. He didn't know what was coming next, but one thing was certain. His life was about to change forever. Chef Romano stood frozen, spatula still in his hand, staring at Dr. Celeste, Morgan as if he'd just realized. The floor beneath him was breaking open. Malik remained close to her, unsure whether to step forward or backward, his heart pounding from the confrontation he never asked for. But Dr. Morgan wasn't angry. She was disappointed, and disappointment from someone powerful is heavier than anger. She looked around slowly, taking in every detail. The waiters frozen in place, the cooks pretending not to stare, the manager trembling by the counter. Then her eyes returned to the young waiter who had endured humiliation, so calmly it made her chest tighten. Malik, she said gently, step outside with me for a moment. Malik hesitated, glancing nervously at Chef Romano, who opened his mouth to protest. But one sharp look from Dr. Morgan shut him up instantly. She guided Malik toward the outdoor seating area, away from listening ears. Malik appeared uneasy, unsure why someone like her would want his company after witnessing such an ugly scene. Sit, she told him softly. He did. For a few moments, she simply looked at him. Not the way the chef had. Not with annoyance or judgment, but with the quiet respect one gives to someone who has survived more than others will ever understand. Do you know why I was watching earlier? Dr. Morgan asked. Malik shook his head. I wasn't here to inspect the food or the service, she continued. I came because I'm opening a hospitality training foundation. One meant for young people who've been overlooked, underestimated, or treated unfairly. I visit restaurants to observe staff, not for their mistakes, but their character under pressure. Malik blinked, absorbing her words slowly. And you, she said, her voice softening, showed extraordinary character today. His breath caught. You were insulted. You were yelled at in front of customers. You were treated like you didn't matter. Yet you kept your calm. You tried to fix the service. You didn't retaliate, even when you had every right to. Malik's eyes began to sting. No one had ever acknowledged the weight he carried. Not at school, not in the neighborhood he came from, and definitely not in this restaurant where he worked harder than anyone else. Dr. Morgan reached inside her bag and took out a sleek black folder. I want you, she said, sliding the folder toward him, to join my program. Full scholarship, training, placement, future guaranteed. If you accept, this place won't define you. Your future will. Malik stared at the folder as if it were glowing. Why me? He whispered. Because, she said gently, greatness shows itself when tested. Before he could respond, the restaurant doors flew open. The manager stumbled out, followed by Chef Romano, his shirt stained with sauce, his pride stained with fear. "Dr. Morgan," the manager stuttered, "please come inside. We want to apologize properly and—" She raised a hand, silencing him. "I've heard more than enough inside," she replied evenly. "I don't need words. I need change." The manager swallowed hard. Chef Romano took a shaky step forward. "Please," he muttered, voice cracking. "It was a misunderstanding. I was under pressure. I didn't mean anything by it." Dr. Morgan turned to him slowly. "You didn't mean anything by yelling at a child trying his best. You didn't mean anything when you humiliated him in front of your staff. You didn't mean anything when you treated him like he was beneath you?" Romano couldn't respond. His eyes flicked from Dr. Morgan to Malik, then to the ground. "This restaurant will receive an official report," she continued. "Not for food issues, but for workplace misconduct and discriminatory behavior." The manager nearly fainted. "And Chef," she added, her gaze slicing straight through him, "your treatment of Malik is a direct reflection of your character, not his capability. If anyone here is too slow to learn, it's you." Romano's jaw trembled. Malik watched silently, overwhelmed. Part of him felt vindicated. Part of him felt stunned. Dr. Morgan put a gentle hand on Malik's shoulder. "You don't owe this place anything," she said softly. "Your future doesn't start in that kitchen. It starts the moment you decide you deserve better." Malik felt something inside him break open. Years of doubt, insecurity, and quiet suffering melting away all at once. For the first time, he saw himself the way she saw him. Not as a boy being yelled at, but as someone worth investing in. As they walked back inside to retrieve Malik's belongings, the entire staff watched him with a mixture of guilt, respect, and disbelief. One of the older servers whispered, "Good luck, kid." Another added, "We should have stood up for you. I'm sorry." Malik nodded slowly. He wasn't angry anymore. He had outgrown this place in a single afternoon. When they reached the door, Romano called out weakly, "Malik, please, don't leave like this." Malik turned. For the first time ever, he looked the chef in the eyes. Not with fear, but with quiet strength. "You didn't want me here," he said calmly. "And that's okay. I'm going somewhere I am wanted." Romano had no answer. Malik stepped outside. The sun hit his face as if welcoming him into a new world, one where he wasn't the boy being yelled at, but the young man stepping toward a future bigger than anything this restaurant could have offered. Dr. Morgan smiled at him. "Ready?" she asked. Malik took a deep breath. "Yes," he said with confidence he'd never felt before. "I'm ready." And together, they walked toward the car waiting at the curb, leaving behind the kitchen, the shouting, the humiliation, the doubt, and stepping into a future where his worth was not just recognized, but celebrated.